In this video we're going to create the part you can see on the screen here that represents the end of an ancient scroll. We'll take a simple set of vectors in Aspire, use the two-rail sweep tool to build the basic shapes, and then add the flow and character to this using the distortion tool to create the part you can see here. To begin, we'll open a copy of Aspire. So let's start this example by clicking on Open an Existing File, and from the Scroll Project folder we're going to select the file Scroll End Vectors, which is a Aspire CRV3D file. Hit Open. I'm going to come up to View, tile the windows horizontal so we can see both the 2D and the 3D view, and in the 2D view you can see a simple set of vectors that have been drawn using Aspire's vector drawing tools. The three vectors that we have represent the top part of the paper piece of the scroll, cross section we're going to use for the two-rail sweep, and the top part of the handle. We want to do a two-rail sweep for the handle and for the paper, and so I'm going to need a copy of these which is mirrored about the center of our part. So I'm going to select both these vectors. So I'm going to select the first one by clicking on it, hold Shift and click to select the second one, and then the shortcut key to create a vertical mirrored copy about the center of the part is Control, Shift and V. And we can see that's just going to create a second set of those two vectors, and now we're ready to go ahead and do the two-rail sweep to model the part. So let's come over now to the Modeling tab and come up to the two-rail sweep icon, and we're going to select the top vector for the paper part of the scroll, hold Shift and select the bottom vector, still holding Shift, going to select the cross section. We should see nice even lines between the vectors showing that we're going to get a smooth sweep. Next I'm going to hit Apply. We'll take a look at the shape, and I can see if I look at the end there, that's not quite what I was hoping for. I would like the shape to graduate down with the width getting smaller here. To do that we're going to check the option to scale cross section with width. We can see that update, and we can see that's the effect I'm looking for this shape. I'm going to change the name of the component we're creating, call it paper. I'm going to set it to merge and hit close. Let's go back to the Z view now, just deselect that. Next I'm going to select the top part of the handle, Shift and select the bottom part of the handle, Shift and select the vector that's going to represent the cross section. If we click on the two-rail sweep icon now, it'll pick that information up. I am going to choose the option to scale cross section with width this time. We'll hit Apply. We can see that currently that new component and our current component are being added together. So I'm going to change the combine mode of this component to merge so that it blends in. We'll change the name to handle, hit Apply, hit close, and there we've got our new component that we've created for the handle of our scroll. Now we want to make a copy of the handle over to the other side of the part. So if we click on that component in the 2D view, I'm going to use the shortcut which is Control, Shift and H, and that will create a horizontal copy across the middle of our part so that we have our two handles now. Just look down the Z view so we can see those. And one of the reasons for creating these as separate pieces is we still have the ability to individually edit each of these components in order to change the design. To finish off the end part of the scroll, we're going to alter the size and do some distortion now to add a little bit more character to it. We could of course cut it as is and create a very regular looking end for a scroll. In this case though, what I'm going to do is take the three components. I'm going to select the grayscale for each of our three components. I'm going to right mouse click, I'm going to say move to layer and go to new layer, and we'll call this layer Comp Grayscales. I'm going to say the new layer is visible, the new layer is active, and hit OK. I'm going to go to the Drawing tab now and just click on the Layer Manager and switch off the scroll vectors layer so that the original vectors that we use for modeling are now hidden. I'm going to hide this, And again, with these components still selected, we'll come back to the modeling tab. I'm going to come to the icon here to set selected object size. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to unlink the X and the Y because all I want to do is stretch the height a little. So we're going to put in a value of 3, hit apply, and that's just going to fatten up our scroll a little bit there. Next, I'm going to double click to deselect that. So at this stage, let's go ahead and go up to File, Save As, and we'll save this file and we'll call it Scroll End Undistorted. And hit Save. Now to finish off, we're going to take the main part of our scroll and we're going to use the distortion tool in order to add a bit more flow to this, give it a bit more character to finish it off. If we come to the modeling tab, we have the grayscale for the paper component selected. I'm going to come down to the distort selected objects, make sure bounding box is checked, hit apply. That will create a distortion box around our part. I'm going to hover over each side and hit B on the keyboard in order to change each span to what we call a Bezier span. Now we're going to be able to grab the handles. I'm going to grab these two in between here and stretch out the end. Grab these two here, stretch out the end. I'm going to grab this top one, just move it in a little. Just grab that and re-stretch that. Grab this bottom one, move it down. Again, stretch out this part here. Move that up. Come over here and we'll drag this down, this one down and over. We can just keep tweaking each of these handles, making small adjustments to them till we're happy with the way that it looks. What we want to do is have some kind of balance and flow to the part and make sure the handles are coming in at sensible points. If I want to expose the end of that handle a little more, then I might grab all those nodes at the end there, just move them over so that we can see a bit more of the handle. Once we're happy, we can hit close on there. And now essentially we have a finished part to represent the end of our scroll. I'm going to take this, go up to File, Save As, and we'll call this file Scroll End Distorted and hit Save. And you'll find that file in the project folder Scroll along with the other files that we've either opened or saved within this example. That essentially concludes the modeling part of this particular video. The end piece we've created here, we could now go ahead and produce some simple roughing and finishing toolpaths on in order to machine it. If you made two of them, they could be used as nice decorative ends to go at the top and the bottom of a diploma, certificate, maybe even a photograph, and create quite an attractive way of displaying that if the photograph perhaps or the diploma was mounted onto a piece of plywood or something and then the ends were mounted onto the top and the bottom of that.